you're most welcome to this new video with OSP Pro. So in this video today I'm going to be showing you working with you learn PHP in less than 20 minutes. So I'm going to show you the first things, or what are the things that you really need to learn if you want to call yourself a PHP programmer, or if you want to be a programmer of PHP. You know, what are the things you need to do, or what are the things you need to learn. You get? So let's just get ourselves in. So I have my browser here. I'm just trying to close some of this blah blah stuff if possible. Yeah, just close all of those stuffs. Just close them all. Good. So I have my project folder which I happen to create inside here in my C XAMPP htdocs. So remember, I'm using XAMPP inside htdocs, and there I've created a folder called PHP. Yeah. Now to have this, I'm going to share with you guys the source code. Those of you guys who are interested, I'm going to share the source code with you so that you guys can get a chance to this. Now, if I may take you back on my Sublime Text, I'm using Sublime Text Editor. This is my folder where PHP projects are going to be rendered in. I can just do this, and I drag my folder here. Sorry, I drag my folder to this here. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to look like that, just go here and then you go to Open Folder, then you go to Desktop. Sorry, go to XAMPP, go to your XAMPP. Sorry, go to your C. Go to your go to XAMPP here, go to htdocs, go to PHP, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I may just create there a folder called PHP intro. So we are doing here PHP introduction. So if I take you back, so the folder is there called PHP introduction. So means inside here, if you now go into the path, I do /PHP. So if I just hit enter to show me another folder called PHP intro. So this PHP intro, that's where I'm going to have all my PHP variables and all these declarations. Now again, on the other way around, we are starting up with something called syntax. So I have my things that we are going to be learning with you. What are those things? I'm going to be teaching you guys the syntax of PHP, how to write a PHP simple way syntax. We're going to be learning something called comments. Okay, we're going to learn something called variables. In simple term, I'm going to break this very fast, and I'm going to share the source codes with you if you guys maybe get any problems. I'm going to break them in order, so don't worry about that. The data types, if possible, we have constants or operators, we have loops, conditions, if statements, decision making, and functions. You get? So I'm going to start one at a go. So I'm going to start up with the first one is the syntax. So what's the syntax? Syntax is like the structure of that given programming language. Like for instance, the syntax of PHP. So remember to write up this, which I've just given right now. You write here, go here to file. Say here, don't go here and file and then you say new. Go from here. No, from your project, from PHP intro. Right, say file new, and then you go to where they say file, and then you save it. It's a good process to have your things like that inside there. So then I'm giving it as the name as index.php. So in a simple term here, we're going to be writing up a simple PHP project. How do they write a PHP? How do they start giving up a PHP project? So there, I'm just going to open up the syntax. So I come in here, I just open up a syntax. You open in less than sign and greater than sign, then you give 2 question mark. And then you go inside there. Now this is also a version of PHP. It is supported if at all you're going to be using inline programming with the PHP. It will support you, but not in the syntax declaration. But still, if you're implementing your PHP inside HTML and you want to render HTML inside the PHP, this is a very good method. It can still work for you, where I say that equals to anything. Maybe is equal to a variable name like a name, and it will work for you very well. But it's not going to work for us on the variable declaration. If you're declaring a PHP project, that's how they declare a PHP program. So you open up a tag, then you say question mark PHP, then open up a tag. So in a simple term, it's just like that. So that's very correct, but we are breaking it that way, and that's it. So inside here, that's how they write a PHP project, and that's it. So if I save this project and I just go inside my here in the browser, refresh, you should have that stuff there inside here. So if I click there, I think you can see it takes us to a PHP project. But remember, we cannot print anything out in a PHP. To print something, you just say print. So on printing, we can put there 2 quotes, double quotes if possible, like maybe hello world, put like that. So just like that alone is going to work for us. So if you save that and refresh the page, it should work for you as expected. You can still render your HTML inside your PHP if you find that kind of more, nice and simple to you. You should have that working out for you. And if you save that, refresh here, it should work for you very well as expected. Now, on the other way around still, what I have to let you know at the moment that our PHP program is working as expected, but I've used one known as print. So you can instead replace that with something called echo. So when you replace the word print with echo, they work the same. They will later on explain to you later on, late stage, the difference between echo and print. So I'm going to utilize this very fast because there are many things that I'm going to be doing with you guys in PHP. So if you can understand this first beginning part, it will be so much of a great help or understanding to me, because there are many things that still we have to come up with in our PHP program. Remember, if you're doing up your PHP, whether using echo or using print, don't forget to terminate your program. Now, you guys, mine here is working, it's just because I have one single line of program. But if I had another program here down, and I just say maybe I love PHP programming, trust me, it's going to be wrong. Get every much I terminate this one. You see, every much I terminate. So there's something called a semicolon, which we're going to look onto that also. So if I just save this right now, I'm going to get an error. Get why? It's because our program is trying to see some problem there, and that problem is coming from a semicolon. There's something called a semicolon. Semicolon is only shows a PHP program that program ends there. It only shows that program ends there. So, in simple terms, whenever you're defining up or whenever you're doing up your PHP program, just make sure you happen to do something called, you're getting to know that whenever you use only one line, if you have only one line of program in the complete project of yours, it's okay. You can just leave without this. You can leave without giving your semicolon at the end of the program. But if you have more than lines, more than one lines of codes, like for instance here, maybe whatever you're using print or you're using echo, it's anyway is a way. So if you're happy to come here and say using print, maybe I love programming. Maybe all the programmers don't code much, no. Yeah, professional programmers. I believe so. Professional programmers don't code much. Whatever of yours. Now this here, look, I commented this. I updated this with the semicolon, and I didn't put semicolon here. Check. If you run this program, will I get error or not? It will not give you an error. Why? The last part of the program, you can ignore to give a semicolon because there's nothing next to it down. You get? So you guys who did the C++ or did the C should be knowing this. But if you didn't do, it's not a sin still. You get a chance from me because what I'm explaining to you is what's on ground. That whenever you're doing up your PHP program, don't forget that if you have more than 2 lines, the last one you can leave without giving semicolon, you can leave. But the good programming technique shows that it's good practice to give semicolon to all your PHP program because you lose nothing. Giving a semicolon to your PHP program builds your program to have the confidentiality or to be in a position to do for you what you expect to do. So I think it's good to have all those criteria within your program. So in simple terms, this is a PHP syntax. You either use the print or use echo. Now, difference between the print and echo. Echo, we use it in most of anywhere in a PHP project. The same thing with the print. But we tend to use much of print whenever we are going to be dealing up with encapsulations. I want to print up something like format of results. It makes more sense. It shows more meaning whenever I'm going to do it in some way, an encapsulation, an argument, than when I'm going to do real if conditions. So I think that should be that. So in simple terms, that's my simple PHP syntax. So don't forget PHP syntax, like I've said, it's just opening tag. And no problem, you can even declare 1,000 PHP syntax. As long as you open and close and it will be save and refresh, no error please. Because a PHP syntax, opening close, closing close. Don't forget that. So it always gives you what you feel like you need to do. Now next thing is about comments. So I'm just trying to, because I've written up my stuff down. I know you guys, you can't see what I have, but approximately I have some kind of stuff like that. Now the next thing is comments. So let me just do that very fast, and this should be so simple for us. So I said with the source code, I'm going to put it to you guys, and you should be supposed to follow along with me. So just catch up with me, and then let's have this done. Now, Don't forget, this was our syntax for PHP. Now the next thing is a comment. What's a comment? And you guys have been posting up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and things like that. So there's something called a comment. Comment is about that piece of code written by you, the programmer, and you don't want anyone else to see. It's only you who knows, you get? Maybe you are writing a program that shows that prints, I love programming. But maybe a program that can capture the area of a circle, let me say that. But you're writing that title and say, I'm going to make a program that can capture the area of a circle. What if I'm doing that calculation and I fail to do it? So I want to give someone else to carry through my codes. For that person easily to know what am I really working on is the comment, because comment will definitely explain what program are you trying to come up with. It will simply show what that program is all about. So in a simple term, comment tend to give the program a chance to understand how another given programmer happened to make that given program, or it helps you to know where you happen to stop and where to start from, and where did I go wrong. So you can even commit a complete line of code if at all you have gone wrong. So let's just see. PHP tends to give us different 3 types of comment, but otherwise there are 2. But I'm going to explain this to you. So there's something called a single line comment. Single line comment only affects 1 line of code. For instance, if I give /, that's a single line comment. So this is a single line comment. Remember, with the comment, for them, they're not known they're not seen by the compiler. So if I save there and I go to the browser right now here, I'm just going to go back a bit because I'm actually out there. And if I come back here, I think you see nothing. You get? Let me even try to make sense for you guys here. I'm printing here. I'm going to just simply say maybe let me just say here I have something called hello world, whatever. You get? So if I refresh there and go back to the PHP page, that's what you should have. We definitely have hello world. But if I comment that here now, this is what I'm saying. The program does not see anything here. If I refresh here, I'll get nothing. But you know very well, we have written something called hello world. So definitely the program tends to see nothing because you happen to hide your PHP code. You happen to hide your program. You happen to comment. You don't want the compiler, the scripter, or the one which senses the PHP language to know what you have written. So whenever you put a comment, it hides what you have written as you. You get? So in simple term, that's what comments do. So in simple term, we have 2 types of, course, 2 ways how you can write a single line comment. You can either give 2 /, or you can just give an hash to your program. So when you just give a hash there, hash still means a single line comment. So it will still work for you just like a single line comment works. So in simple term, it moves in that way, and you should find it so much simple and easy. Now, there's also another type of comment, and that's called a multiple line comment. It affects more than 2 to 3 lines of code. So whenever you're making up your your PHP program, think also there's also multiple line comment. For instance, I've written something like this, maybe. I've written something like this, maybe. Blah blah blah. Let me just do some calculation for you guys here. Like maybe, for instance, the variable. We have variable. So let me remove JavaScript here, but still I know it's supported in PHP. Let me just say variable. Let me just say A is equal to 5, and then I come here and say B is equal to 6, whatever. Then I say maybe C is equal to having a variable A plus a variable B. Okay? Now you see I've written more lines of code. So if I want to come in here and I say the sum of A and B is, so I can either just concat it here and then I just put that here, which is C. Don't worry about what I've written here. I just want to explain to you something simple. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about what I have there. Simple term. It gives us 10, which is correct, because when you add 4 plus 6, definitely is 10. Or if you change this one to whatever number, or 60, whatever, it should give you approximately 60. 4, and that's it. Now look, my point's not about that. My point's about comments. So if I highlight that part of code and I give comments, so what's multiplying the comment? You give / and give a multiplication sign, tab. there. So you are going to give where you want the comment to end. If you want the comment to end there, you can always go down or whatever way you want. You give multiplication sign and end. So in a simple term, how do they write a multiple line comment? You give 2 forward slashes like that. In between them, you give 2 multiplication sign. So whatever thing you write inside there, that's going to be called a multiple line comment. So multiple line comment can work throughout your PHP program. You can comment a complete PHP project if you want. No problem. Your project will always be commented as long as you decide to have it that way. You get? Now, let me simply say that's done. Now, the next thing that I'm going to explain to you now at the moment, where do I use comments and how do I use them? Now, simply like I've said, I'm going to give assumption, I'm going to write a program that can calculate the area of a circle. To do such kind of stuff, I need to comment picture of my program and say, a program to calculate the area of a circle. Now you see, you're coming up with something like that, and like I'm trying to say comments. So what do I need? You can say variable declaration. So blah 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 blah. I'm defining my variables. I'll need to get area. The problem for calculating area of a circle is ABCD. You get my point? So you're trying to express yourself to that person who's going to use your program, maybe in the future time, or even you yourself. The next day, my program has stopped here. So the next time I'm going to use my PHP program or whatever program I'm going to be making up, I will be knowing where I will be in. Let me just show some of my sample projects that I have, and I've actually used the comments so much. Let me just pick NA. Let me just pick NA. Let me just go to here and then I just go to votes. I have voting system here. So let me just go to my config and I just show my functions. I think you can see this one. I'm defining my tables. You get all of those things you're seeing. Those are my comments. You see the position variable. So I'm positioning the position like people's marks, people's positions like for voting. The voting variables like candidate ID, voting ID again. And then the voting variables, candidate ID and date which they happen to vote. Then you register user. This is my function to register a new user who wants to register into my PHP project. Here I'm using API. I'm creating an API simple term. That's why you see I'm trying to render it somewhere here. That's why I rendered it somewhere. I should show you something. Probably I should be having to where somewhere here within my PHP project. Should have it somewhere. I think you can see it here. I'm trying to get register users, but still you see API call for registering system users. Blah blah blah. Mind there. Creating position APIs. You get? API functions for logging user, log students, whatever. You see, now here I'm actually creating my functions or whatever thing I'm creating. I'm doing it there. But now if you look, I'm trying to say that's API call for registering user. The other one's for registering for logging in. So it becomes more simple whenever you're dealing up in such a kind of way, how you're dealing up with these people and you're trying to show them your program. So it becomes so simple for them to understand how your program is moving, right? Because you happen to comment your piece of lines of code. So this becomes so much simple for them to get up with your program. Is it okay? So whenever you're making up your program, please don't forget to comment. Commenting helps you so much to know how your program is laid, and also the other way around, it gives you a chance to know what next, where did I go wrong, what should I do, what should I change. In a simple term, that's it. Now the next thing is the variables. So let me just try to do something little with it here still. So comments, like I've said to you guys, comments. Let me just leave that there. So let me just try to come back here and just try to explain to you something. Yeah, this is a multiple line comment. You get why it affects many lines. Just the way you see me giving it there. That's multiple line comment. So when you see it, guys, don't forget to know. And don't worry, I'm going to put this in the source code and it's for free download. Don't worry, I'm going to put it for you guys if you want it. It's okay, so that you can move along with me, or if you want to join me, it's okay. Then the next thing is the variables. Let me just be very fast. The next thing is variables. So what are variables? In a simple term, variables refers to an element holding a place value of another element. Don't forget, we have to go back to our PHP syntax, and that's what we have. You get? But now we want to define something called a variable. We want to come up with a variable declaration. Remember, we say a variable refers to an element holding a place value of another element. For example, we have x. X is equal to 4. So we want to make sure, you guys know very well that if you remember from your functions, or if you remember from secondary or from high school, whereby you've been doing some kind of vectors or whatever, If you say x equals to 4, each time you say you define or you call for x will be equals to 4, okay? So that's what's called a variable. So a variable first one element holding a place value of another element. So, but in PHP we don't just write variable, we don't just say x equals to 4. This is not Python. In PHP we have some behaviors, have some ways how we write a variable. We start with the $sign and then we say maybe x, whatever you want. Whenever name you want to give your variable, maybe num1 or whatever name you want to give. Let me just say x equals to 4. Like I've said earlier, x equals to 4. 4 is a number, that's why it's not in quotes. So this still is going to make us understand what are variables, what are data types, and how to treat the two. So variables, like for example, x equals to 4 in a simple term. For you to print that, I'll just say print for me the variable for us x. So this alone makes the program know that x equals to 4. So if you come back here and I just try to go back a little bit if possible, I have your variables. So I think you can see our variable is equal to 4. So means if I don't call this x, if I comment my print, you get, if I comment it out, if I comment that given stuff, what do I get? Definitely I'll get nothing because I've not called that given variable. So I will define my variable x equals to 4, but I've not called it, I've not said print it for me, I didn't say echo it for me. Get, print and echo are the same kind of, because print for me this out or echo for me what the results. So definitely if you comment the results, don't get anything, but your variables are not affected. Why? Because it's inside the quotes, so it's not affected in any way. So in a simple term, that's what you have to put in your mind too. So this still is not a sin, it's up to you. You can still say just echo and the program should work for you as expected. So if you still come back here in your program, it will definitely give you 4. So that's it. So don't forget about that in your program. Now, the next thing that also have to let you know now in this program at the moment is about this. Still under our variable declaration, we have, for example, someone's name, like names. So when you say names is equal to maybe David. So if you say name is equal to David, don't forget that one is a variable. So name is equal to David is a variable. Now, but don't forget here I'm basing on type that this is a variable x equal to 4. So 4 is a number. Okay, 4 is a number. So 4 being an equal to number means in a simple term, we cannot, we tend to treat it as a number. We leave it with that quote. We just leave it as an open stuff. The same thing with the with something called a float or a data type. So you can still just leave it like that. So it's still okay. The program will work for you as expected. But if it is someone's name, you cannot leave it like this. You cannot leave it as just like that. This is definitely going to give you a program error. Why? Because it's expecting that one to be in quote. It's expecting the thing to be in quote. So definitely, for you to handle such kind of scenarios, you have to give your program a quote. Good. And if you give in quote, will not print anything because we didn't call for name. So names or name is equal to David. So David has to be in quote. Now here you can either use single quote or double quote. It's up to you. We can always give that because the difference between double and single quote, that I will explain to you guys later. But at the moment, first understand the beginning point of starting up using PHP. So if you come back here and just simply say name, whatever thing you want to give there, like a name. So definitely, like I've said, if you have only that given stuff last, expect to just print for you that. Or even you can come in here and join the two, that my name is David. So you can give 2 quotes, then concat, you join with the other variable itself. So like my name is, like that. My name is, then any name you have there up. So you can always pass a loop if you want, or you can whenever if you happen to learn how to use loops, which is to believe today we're going to get ourselves finding ourselves, getting to know how to use loops. You get? Yeah. So here, in a simple term, my name is here. So if my name is Richard, that's it. So my name will be that, and the variable will be no. Just a matter of changing the variable name the other side. And if you say my name is David last time, this time my name will be Richard. You can always give the names you want. Now here there's no limitation of the data type saying that if the string here the maximum should be this. No. Here you're just defining and you're talking to the PHP direct here. So there's no limitation of the variables you want to give from someone's name. Do not say that this name should be ended there. So in a simple term, that's a string, it's a text, does not have limitation. It's like paragraphs or list, it's just like a news, so it does not have limitation because the text by default that the variables you have defined is taken as a string, is taken as as text. So text has no limitation, has no limit. You get? That's why you see it can print whatever thing you have within your program. So definitely that's what I have within there. So if my name is David, my name is whatever, that's what we'll definitely be having or getting in your program roughly within there. Okay. So the next thing that I have not talked about is data type, as I maybe explained this to you. So let me just try to say this what we have. So this is a string. Okay. And then this, let me just try to make something here also. Maybe y is equal to 5 on blah 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 blah. So this is something called a float. Okay. What other people can call double. But in PHP we tend to use floats. And this is numbers. So in simple terms they are counting numbers. Okay. Counting numbers. Counting numbers, a bunch starts from 1 up to blah 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 blah, and then the other way does that have 0.5 blah blah. So in a simple term, that's it. So this is a string and this is a string. So these strings here, you can also either call them a string or you can call them text if you want. Yeah, so they're just text or they're just strings. So that's it. Now let me just go to another thing at the moment, which is going to be our data type. So what are data types? Remember I said a variable refers to an element holding a place value of another element. But what's now a data type? A data type refers to the format in which how that an element is stored in a given programming language. The format in which how an element is stored in a given programming language. That's the data type. So for instance, we have this. Okay. So we know that we have your x or a is equal to 4 or 5. We know very well in simple terms, for us to get to know that this, how is this going to be stored? So that's, we have to know that this is an integer. It's an int. You get? It's an int. It's an int what? It's an integer. You get? Whereby an integer in simple term means counting numbers. You get? And it being an integer means the format in which it's going to be stored in program should be respected as an integer, should be respected as a counting value, should be respected as a counting number. So if you treat it as a string, it may not be stored if you're using MySQL database or MySQL DB or blah blah MySQL Maria to store for that given in whatever of yours. So you have to make sure you treat that as an integer or as a counting number. And also the other way around, still that being an integer, so mean that's the data type for that. So if I say Vanda that for me, or in simple term to test for your given stuff, you have to just be knowing it you as a person that in PHP, whenever you're dealing up with that, that's an int. I think you can see when I say Van, that for me that, print for me the data type of this, Van down for me. What type is it? What am I trying to talk about? Okay? So definitely the program will be knowing, oh my friend, that's where you're dealing up with the integer. Okay? And that's it. That's what I was trying to mean to you guys. Then on the other way around still, if you don't want to vardam that, let me just comment that. So we know that this is an integer when you vardam it, okay? When you print it out, eh? So let me say another thing like someone's name, so name. And I say the name is same as Richard. Okay? Yeah, whatever name you have. And then I say, vardam for me that name of that person. So what is that? What do we store there? What format is blah blah stuff there? So if your program check that, you should tell me, oh, it is a string and it consists of 7 characters and actually it's called Richard. What about this gentleman who happened to come in here? And then you say, you know what, my age, blah blah. You know, some people are very funny. They say my name is Richard, but my age is 23.6. Now, to understand such kind of stuff, maybe it's going to be a floating value, or let me just say age. Someone comes in there and gives something of that, maybe 40 something point blah blah years old or whatever. So such kind of stuffs in your program or in the program, how is it treated and what's it about? Okay, so this definitely here, when you come in here and you say write down for me age, definitely the program will be knowing what are you trying to mean. Okay, the program will be knowing what you're trying to say to it. Okay, and in simple terms, this is it. Yeah, it knows that that's a float. Yeah. So in a simple term, the program gets to know. So this tends to become a float. And then this tends to become what known as a string. You get? Yeah. And this is always an integer. You get? So that's it. So whenever you're dealing up with this kind of programs, whenever you're dealing up with these things, that's what you have to put in your mind. Maybe the next thing that I have to talk at the moment, without wasting much of time, is something called, we'll definitely go to constants, but I may not look into it at the moment, because we just try to go something called operators. Now, what are operators? Operators are simple terms that help us do mathematical calculations or do some operations. And we have the operand that gives us a chance to do given stuff. For example, if you have x or a equals to 5 or whatever, sorry. And b equals to 6. And c is equal to a plus b. So to have something of that sort, or something like that, and we want to deal with it. So we have something called operators. So what operators, like I've said to you, we have different types of operator. We have arithmetic operators, We have assignment operators. We have bitwise operators. We have MISC operators. We have something called relational operators. We have logical operators. We have increment and decrement. So there are some of them which I've not, maybe I may not mention all of them here, but I'm giving you them. And also the other way around, I expect you guys to do some kind of review and also understand how do they write those types of operators, or how do they do them, how do they work on them. So those are some of the things you need to put in your mind. That whenever I'm dealing up with operators, what do I need to do? What are the things I need to follow? How are they declared? Where do I use those operators? Where do I actually use them? So if I may start with arithmetic, this is what's called arithmetic operators. So with arithmetic operators, for them they deal up with the following. They deal with addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and the modulus of a number. So those ones, whenever you see them, those are something called arithmetic operators. Then an assignment is whereby I give you this: A is equal to B, B is equal to C, blah blah, things of that sort. Then bitwise checks for whether the condition is really verified or not verified. So it checks with one if condition. I'll look into that later on when after looking into logic, because you cannot use bitwise without logic operators. So the first one comes in there is logic operators. Then the increment and decrement, here we're going to be looking into something called the post increment and post decrement. At the same time also post increment and prefix increment, and then the other way around we also have prefix decrement and post decrement. Like increment means I'm adding on 1 to what already exists. Decrement means I'm reducing 1 from what already exists. If the value is 5, let next time be 4, 3, 6. For instance, I want to calculate the expiry date of this given person who has paid me 10,000, or he has paid me some money that I'm still owing him 5, maybe balance, my balance, or I'm still demanding him some money. Now for me, I to set that type of time frame for the when this given value or the amount of money has given me is expired. You tend to do this. You tend either you increment his value by either using post increment, meaning starting from that day he has given you the money, or you can use prefix increment, whereby we considering today to be as if a beginning point. That means you don't calculate today, but you are calculating from tomorrow. Then you set the time frame on which this person has to pay you, maybe 30 days. Then you are trying to show them that when the 30 days happen to end, or the 30th day reaches, let the persons, maybe let the system stop working, or maybe they send a message to that person telling, please, you know what, I'm still demanding you some money. Now to come up with such kind of criteria, to handle such kind of condition later on, we shall learn something called if statement, which gives us a chance to understand how do I use logic operators and also increment and decrement. That if this person is to pay me my money, how do I talk to him? How do I humbly request for my money back? So when you use post increment, it means I'm starting from today, maybe I added 30 days. When 30 days elapsed, please ask my money. So When you say post increment, tomorrow will be 28, 29, 30, meaning 29, 26, meaning 20, 28, 27. So it will be calculating down because you already say in front, you added 30 days to it. So 30 days, subtract 1 from those 30 days. So by the time it reaches 1, so give a condition. If the condition is equal to, or if the function is equal to 1, if the variable x is equal to 1, send a message that you give a user, tell him or her, please make payment for ABCD or complete your balance of ABCD. Now to handle such kind of conditions, we need to understand something called increment and decrement. I think you guys actually have explained a little bit about that, but though I know I have to show you how they work, but just put in your mind that we use them in such kind of criteria. Then relation operators, that's where you have the greater than sign and the less than sign. I'm trying to give such condition like maybe if x is greater than y, then let the condition z be printed out. Or if x is less than y or less than z, let ABCD be printed out. So such kind of conditions, we print them under relational operators. You get? Now, so this is called arithmetic operators, and this time around we are under something called addition. So that's addition. So if you simply say print out here, and I simply say print from C, so the program knows that they am adding those given variables. So in operators, don't forget that. That's we have. You get? So I think you can see it's 11. So the same thing also does that, just like I've told you. If you just subtract it there, the program knows that that's what I mean. You subtract that, and for sure, when you get A, which is 5 minus 6, well, definitely it's minus 1, so negative 1. So if you divide, the division of 5 divided by 6. Remember, it considers something called addition, meaning something called integers. So definitely when you say 5 divided by 6, definitely that's it. So it first of all it is 0 point, then add 50, 5 to 8 means 0 to 8, which is the same as having 50 out of what? 50 out of 6 definitely gives you approximately, if you get, that's approximately what? That's approximately 40 what? Is it 40, 48, something like that? Yeah. If I may calculate very well, approximately like that, because we have 40, we have for yeah, approximately like that. So then here, then this is recurring, and that's it. Now also in the other way around, if you multiply there, that still gives you the same thing, and if you shake, that's it. So if you get here that this is that times that, definitely the answer is 30, and that's it. Then the modulus same as the remainder of a given stuff. You get, that's what we call a modulus. The remainder of a given thing is called a modulus. The remainder of a number, when we divide the two numbers, the remainder there is called a modulus of those numbers. So that's it. So for instance, 5 divided by 6. What's the remainder? It's 5, because 5 can never be divided by 6. It should be 6 divided by 5, which is 1, remainder 1, not so? Yeah. So in a simple term, when you say 5 divided by 6, it's 5, the remainder, because we didn't use it. You have 5 people, I mean you have 6 people, and you have 5 members to give them. So it's so much equal not to give any of them, because you're going to bring issues. Okay, that's good. So still here under operators, let me just try to explain to you something little. Let me just utilize this chance around to break for these things down. Or in a simple term, let me just come in here. Let me just define my variable C, my constant C. So we have here something called the C, and C is equal to what we don't know. So I've just defined my C there, like so. You get? So if you shake here, and if you try to come in here and define variable that, you get? C is same as having A plus B. Yeah. So definitely if you check there, we have that. C is same as having C is same as that. A equals to B and C. Yeah. So we are looking into something here. We want to give conditions. So you see if A is equal to, you give 2 equals sign equals to B. So you're assigning, you're trying to shake the condition. Is A really equal to B? So if it is true, if it is A equals to B, what do you want to do? You want to say maybe equal. Maybe they are all equal. To come up with such kind of conditions, you do that. If A is equal to B, give a condition to shake that. You get? And definitely we check there. If the condition is verified to be true, to print for you, but otherwise it has checked that A is not equal to B. So it's waiting for something called else condition. So here I'll simply say they are not what? Not equal. Not so? Yeah, they are not equal. And that's it. So the program will check for they are not equal because for sure A is not equal to B. But if you change this to 5, okay? The program is definitely going to check that and say, you know what? They are all equal because for sure A is equal to B. You get the point? So that's it. So if A is equal to B, check that. If it's not equal to B, then what you are able to see? Yeah, it should determine how this given stuff look like. So my friends, at the moment, what am I left with? I'm left with something called, I'm also going to explain to you guys something a little bit about relation operators, and then that's it. So still here, if you come back here and put a greater than sign, if A is greater than B, what do you want? Print the A is greater than B, or just put your A greater. A greater. Else, B, that implies a meaning B is greater, not so? B is greater. So that's how this condition behaves. So B is greater because we say if A is greater than B, it's not greater, but because I made it this, otherwise I would have given a condition which said they're equal, but it's giving me the other way around because it has an else statement and there's no real verified condition for it to be given there, and that's why it was like that. So if you say if A is greater than B, print A is greater, but others print B is greater, and that's it. Means if you make your B A greater, definitely will say A is greater than B, and that's it. Yeah. So in simple terms, that's what I have for you for now. Then on the other way around, we have loops and the logic operators increment. So the main thing that I have to explain to you very well is something called increment, which I think I have to get back to you on the next video. So guys, thanks for watching this short video. It was so kind and nice. And if you guys have any issue or anything to ask, please feel free to comment down.